Hello and welcome to IGPP Expert Talks. I am Heena Goswami, Editorial Consultant with IGPP, Institute for Governance, Policies and Politics, New Delhi. Continuing our discussion on how technology can be leveraged to fight climate change, today we are joined by a very special guest, Dr. Ajay Mathur. Dr. Ajay Mathur is the Director General of the International Solar Alliance. Prior to joining ISA, Dr. Mathur was Director General of the Energy and Resource Institute, TERI. At TERI, he spearheaded the move to accelerate action towards a low carbon and cleaner economy through the promotion and adoption of renewable energy and green hydrogen in the Indian electricity sector, enhancing efficiency in buildings and industries, and promoting environmental quality through institutional and policy measures to enhance air quality across the country, adoption of resource efficiency and waste recycling measures, and biotechnology-based solutions, especially for agricultural and industrial environmental improvement. He was also the co-chair of the Global Energy Transitions Commission and of the Clean Cooling Initiative of the One Planet Summit. Welcome to IGPP Expert Talk, sir.
Such a pleasure. Wonderful to be here with you.
So recently, the COP29 concluded. It left the developing countries a little disappointed, but there was also this adoption of a declaration on green digital action.
Right.
Can technology be employed to serve the interest of developing countries at a scenario where we are facing not just the brunt of climate change, but also we see that, developed countries are shying away from taking their responsibility?
Well, I think it helps by focusing on what is it that AI can do and cannot do. In my view, what digitalization does is to promote upscaling, because what it does is you can monitor projects once they have been put up. You can help upscale them, do them at large numbers, and therefore individual companies or individual developers can handle multiple projects, making them more time and cost efficient. You can find out the appropriate technologies digitally. Now, these are all areas in which countries may need to invest in digitalization themselves. There is very little that developed countries can do to help move this along, because at the end of the day, both digital information, digital literacy, as well as digital infrastructure are really being done by the countries themselves and not by anybody else.
What are some of the key opportunities that are emerging from the use of AI for climate? I mean, these days, AI seems to be a silver bullet for all the problems that we face. And the idea seems that if you employ more technology, you'll find solution. Do you think that might also work in the sphere of climate change? Can AI transfer climate adaptation and mitigation solutions?
AI is at the heart of it a digital tool. It's a digital tool that helps us find the appropriate technology that you can use. So the cost of the technology itself, for example, if it's a gasifier or a solar system or a wind energy system, that doesn't change. Or even if it's an energy efficient light bulb, an LED bulb, for example, compared to a normal bulb, the cost of that doesn't change. What AI helps us is, number one, in identifying the right technology for the application that we have in mind. It helps us in, these are all climate related technologies. So the sunlight matters, whether you have wind or not, that matters. It helps forecast these. It can also help in forecasting when you are looking up at technologies on the adaptation side. So it helps forecast the storms, for example. That does not mean that we don't invest in climate resilient infrastructure. That you'll have to. But what it does, it helps you prepare for it. So forecasting is the second thing. And the third thing that it does is preventive maintenance. So you can look at the performance of a wind machine or a solar panel or a LED bulb and know that when certain parameters occur, for example, when the rate of electricity production per watt of that panel drops below a certain amount, that panel is going to fail. Those are the kinds of things that AI can help us with. It is at the heart of it a means of reaching time and cost efficiency, and therefore using the resources that we have far more efficiently than we would otherwise.
Are there also scenarios where AI might enhance climate inequities by prioritizing solutions for wealthier regions over vulnerable areas? Because the fact of the matter is that majority of the AI products, the data that is being used, they are originating or they are being they are being developed in USA, in China,
Yeah,
the already
yeah,
developed nations.
yeah. You're absolutely right. What is important is the breadth of data from which AI trawls and finds solutions. Now, because they're developed in developed countries, that is what largely the subject matter in which AI trawls, finds answers. You may therefore have a solution, a wind energy solution or a solar energy solution that makes great sense in the US or in Europe. But when you come to India, the wind speeds are less, the solar installation is more, and therefore the choices that it picks up may be completely wrong. What is important for us to do, therefore, is to look at how we can enhance the material from which AI chooses. And therefore, in the choice of its material, it picks up the right technologies. What it also means is that I think we need to be smarter in how we ask the questions. Because with AI, one of the biggest problems is how well do you define the question? You might need to define it 2 or 3 times before you get the right thing that you are looking for. So, for example, if you don't choose the amount of money that people can pay for the renewable energy that they're getting, you might get a very expensive solution, which might be non-viable in practice.
On that note, are we like becoming over reliant on technology and sort of saying that technology will take care of all our problems and probably sidelining simpler, low tech and community driven approaches? I mean,
Mhm.
I feel that, we cannot say, oh, climate change can be mitigated, solutions can be found without making efforts on our part. But this seems to be the direction that we are taking now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think what we need to focus on is community engagement. In the absence of community engagement, we find solutions that look good on paper, but when you put them in practice, there are real problems. So, for example, when we look at solar technologies, which is my area of work, if you look at solar technologies, then we might end up choosing technologies for large scale solar because grids are fully developed in the developed countries. But when you talk of a place in Africa which does not even have the grid, what solution is that? So therefore, looking at a solution that is, for example, based on the local availability of the grid or the non-availability of the grid means that you're looking for a solar microgrid, or you're looking for a solar refrigerated room in which agricultural products can be stored till they are sold. That will increase incomes, but it is powered by renewable energy. So finding the right choices often depends on the fact whether you have been able to talk to communities about these or not. To me, that is and will continue to be the basis of the choices of technologies that we make.
My next question is twofold. Taking from that note that, we need to engage communities. Do you think India can develop technology, AI and other technologies which take into account local communities and include indigenous practices, the data of indigenous practices into how AI is developed? And also, while we make that investment, is there a need to balance? Like, will that investment take away from other crucial climate interventions, such as investing in renewable energy and conservation?
Well, first of all, the levels of investment are an order of magnitude different, if not more. The investment in ensuring that the availability in the data that AI looks at, that is, if it is of the order of 1, then the investment in the technology is of the order of 10 to 100, right? So I don't think that there is a issue of a choice which says you do one or the other. You can easily do both. We will need to keep on developing new products based on what people can afford and what makes economic sense for you and for me. That's one part. But in order to do these at scale, so for example, if I want to do solar cold rooms at scale, or solar mini grids at scale, I will need to do several of them within a geographical area so that one person can manage to provide the maintenance to all of them. Now, how does he do it? He gets it by digitalization. And AI can help tell him when something is needed. So for example, I visited a solar mini grid, which was, I think, somewhere outside Lucknow. And it was very interesting. The company which had done it has got approximately 50 solar mini grids in a radius of about 20 kilometers. And they have a maintenance person at one place, and on a motorcycle, you can go to any of those places in less than half an hour. So 15 minutes to 30 minutes is what it takes. Now, how does he's getting data from everywhere. How does he know that his personal presence is needed? AI helps figure that out. So, I mean, this particular company has its digital systems so well put into place that you open a door and it rings an alarm in the central control room where this person is. Consequently, AI is needed at the way in which this person, when does he come? What is the kind of instruments he should bring with him? What are the kind of spare parts he should bring with him? Those are the kinds of things where AI can make a real difference. But to answer your central question, you will need to develop a database. And that is a major problem because data is very poorly available. We are not transparent in everything that we do. We'll need to digitalize. We'll need to digitalize very many both experiments and practicing interventions that we have carried out in order for AI to have a chance at identifying the right choices.
Responsibility involves caring for environment or innovation that is environmentally sustainable. So, do AI developers and designers also hold some responsibility in that respect? Today, we live in a world that is driven by algorithm that wants us to spend more time on social media, that wants us to shop more, and all these practices might not be climate wise sustainable. But that is driving the economy today. Where do
Mm.
we find the balance between this responsibility and also ensuring that in the long term, we build an environment that is sustainable for our future generations?
Well, the way I look at it, no matter what you do, you have got 24 hours in a day. Now, you may decide to spend them on social media. You may decide to spend them talking to people. You may decide on spending them in reading up literature, or you can decide on spending them in setting up new systems, or a mix of all of them. Similarly, the amount of money that each one of us has is limited. So you can decide what proportion goes into buying consumer products, what proportion goes into setting up the new systems, for example, LED bulbs or solar panels, what proportion goes into, for example, travel, what proportion goes into the amount of money that you spend on things like food. Now, what I hear you very clearly that the entire push is towards commercialization and therefore buying more market-based commercial products than otherwise. Well, I think this is very, very closely related to the amount of budget that you have. So people spend to a certain extent, they can also overspend. But at the end of the day, they need to care about all of the things of life, whether it is food, whether it is travel, whether it is buying consumer products. All of these form the basis of what we live. So yes, you are right. People maybe, some people may be drawn towards spending too much on consumer products, but given the fact that all of them have limited budgets, I think we have a natural barrier to overspending.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.